Hi, Assalamualaikum, and a very good morning to everyone. I would like to welcome all of you to my class, which is Application of Public Relation in Sport, SRC451. Please make sure that you are registering for the correct code subject, okay, so that there won't be any errors during the class as the class going ongoing. Okay, and then I would like to apologize because we are supposed to have a live class by using the MS Team. However, due to some circumstances, I need to change the live class to pre-recorded class. I have prepared this pre-recorded slideshow for you guys. So before we start with our class, let me introduce myself. My name is Elaine Ain binti Muhammad Aznan, but you can call me Madam L. I've been teaching sport communication, sport media relations, and as well as sport project management. So I'll be seeing you guys for sport project management as MG453. I hope that you guys are okay for having me for both classes. All right. So without further ado, let us continue with our class. So before that, let us recite the Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. All right. Amin Amin Ya Rabbal Alameen. We seek for Allah blessing in our class. So today you are enrolled in class Application of Public Relations in Sport, which for me it is one of a important subject actually. Okay. However, you need to understand that this is actually one of the key concepts in communication. So when we talk about communication, there are so many key concepts appears in communication. For example, we have public relation, we have media relation, we have sport reporting. So every single one of these are known as a concept of communication. So one of the concept is public relation, which we are going to go and we are going to uh, explore and discover for this one whole semester. So today we are going to enter into chapter 1, which is introducing you guys to the sport public relations. However, before we start, let me show you the weekly plan that I have prepared for you guys so that you have a clear view about what is happening in this one whole semester. Right, this is the weekly plan that I have prepared for you guys. So basically for week 1, which is starting from 11th of October until 15th of October, we are going to get into chapter 1, which is Introduction to Sport Public Relation. And I also want you guys to uh, do the entrance survey, which can be filled in the UFuture platform. Okay, just click into the code subject and then there you will see the entrance exit survey. So please fill in the entrance survey. So basically the questions are going to ask you whether you know about this course or not, and do you think that this course is helping you in future or not. So the answer for each question should be one, which is we don't have any knowledge about this subject and we don't know what is the outcome yet. However, I hope that at the end of the semester, when you're filling in the exit survey form, you are able to understand all the chapters and all the topics that have been covered, and you are able to tick 5 in order to show that you are understand with what you have learned for this subject. Right, so in the weekly plan, so for week 1 I'm going to cover chapter 1, and then for week 2 next week I'm going to cover chapter 2, which is integrating public relations with strategic management, and then continue with chapter 3, and then looking forward for chapter 4, and the week after is on chapter 5, and then on week 5 on week 5 we are going to have test 1, which will be covering chapter 1 until chapter 4. So you need to study that, and since this weekly plan had been prepared for you, you should be able to prepare yourself earlier so that there will be no excuses such as I don't have any time to prepare for my test and so forth and so on, right? And then we move along to the week 6, okay, with chapter 6. Chapter 6 have been divided into 2, which is will be covered on week 6 and week 8, because on week 7 we are going to have a midterm break. All right. If I'm not mistaken, there is no special celebration on that day, or sorry, on that week. But it's your midterm break, okay? And then we will be continue with week 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. 12 we have special celebration week, which is Christmas week, okay? And then we have week 13. I'll be covering on chapter 9. Then I'll be covering chapter 9 until week 15. Okay, I have divided the chapters, the subtopics. And then on week 16 we are going to have task 2, which is we're covering on chapter 5 until chapter 6. Okay, and then you have your revision week and your examination week. Okay, so there are 3 main weeks that you have to remember. Week 1, you have to fill in the entrance survey. Week 11, you have to fill in the SUFO. And on week 12, sorry, week 15, yeah, week 15, you have to fill in the exit survey. Okay, so I really hope that you guys are going to fill in the forms. Okay, don't worry, as time passes by, I'm going to remind you again and again about these important dates. All right. Okay, so I think that is all for the weekly plan. So basically this is 100% continuous assessment subject. There are no final examination for this code. Okay, however, you're going to have 2 tests, and then you have 3 main assignments, which is journal critic, case study, and e-portfolio, which will be explained on the next class, on the tutorial class, 1 hour class. All right. And then I also like to remind you that all these materials, which is the weekly plan, the scheme of work, all right, can be found in the MS Team in the files menu bar, or in future you can find it in a course content. Please click on my name and you have to enter the password. So I'll give the password in the WhatsApp group, right? So let us continue with our class. Okay, so these are going to be the chapter outline, which means what are you going to get at the end of this chapter, and what am I going to brief or share with you so that you got the point at the end of the chapter. Okay, number one, it's you guys should be able to define what is public relation, identify the characteristic of public relation, understand the public relation functions and the roles of public relation, and then you should be able to understand the basic skills in public relation, and then focusing on sport public relations, identify types of public relation, identify the differences between public relation and marketing, understanding public relation, promotions, and publicity, and recognize the benefits of public relations to sport organization. Basically, public relation is where we are dealing with the public, okay, in order to give the information about our organizations. But you'll see the definition right after this. So here are some of the definitions of public relations. So we talk about this public relation, especially during World War One, World War Two. So it's persuasively about publicity, It's about how the organizations emphasize the information of their organizations to be sent out to the public. So, as a general definition, public relation is the organization's effort to build and manage a long-term relationship with the strategic publics and trying to minimize the conflict with them. This is by J. Grunick, 1992. So, as you can see, public relations is actually where we want to build a very good relationship and a long-term relationship with the strategic publics, which is people who have connection with us. For example, if um, you are representing the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So who are the publics? The publics are the person or the individuals or even the groups who are dealing with the ministry. So definitely you are going to, you're trying to get a good relationship with them in order for you to sustain your image, a good image of your organization, right? And then the Public Relation Institute of Southern America define public relation as the management through communication of perceptions and strategic relationship between an organization and internal and external stakeholders. So it's about a communication and perceptions that we have towards the organization, because when you talk about relationship, it's always about perception. We are having a perceptions towards something or someone in creating or developing the relationship. Therefore, it is very important for each of the PR practitioner in each organization to give a very good image in order to create a good relationship with the public. Right. There are lots of definitions, and then the PR News in USA define PR as a management function, which evaluates the public attitudes and identifies the policies and procedures of individual or organization with the public interest and plans executes of program on earning the public understanding and acceptance. So, PR News identify PR as um, recognizing the public or the stakeholder attitudes towards the organization. We want to know them so that we can get close to them and we can create a good relationship with them. That's why um, the keywords in defining PR is the relationship between the organization and the public itself, right? So as you can see down there, the keywords to remember in defining public relation are deliberate, planned, performance, public interest, a two-way communication, and management function. So it's always about a process of communication, because when we talk about the organization trying to seek out the information or trying to interact with the public, it's a communication, and it's a two-way communication because we are identifying the attitudes of the public so that we know how to deal with them. So it's a two-way communication. So the keywords in defining public relations is very important, because by knowing the keywords you may be able to define public relation easily. So what is sport public relation? Well, sport PR is the organizational function that fosters the development of positive relationship between organizations and the most important public. So sport PR is actually when we talk about the sports organization relationship with the public. All right, so it's very important because there are lots of sports organizations nowadays that have their own stakeholders, they have their own assets, they have their own public, they have their own fan fan base. All right, so it's very important for them to keep everything very positively, and they have to manage their image very well. If not, then it will definitely jeopardize their image, and this will ruin their relationship with their publics and their stakeholders as well. These are the characteristics of public relation. Okay, one, it has limited control of messages, because public relation enhanced by a very deep planning, in-depth preparation, and professional execution. So we have a very limited messages to be sent out to the public because we need to clarify things that need to be sent out. We need to identify what is the important thing that need to be spread out. We're not going to like put everything there in a mass. No, we're going to um, be very specific towards something that need to be sent out to the public, right? And then choice of communication media are restricted by editorial policies and media requirements because you are representing an organization, so you need to be very professional. So they have their own editorial policies. Okay, a gatekeeper editor is known as a gatekeeper, the one who screen out the content before it being sent out to the public. And then the timing and the frequency of media coverage and product and exposure cannot be projected or dictated to any large extent. So this is also a characteristic of PR. It has a very limited timing and frequency of media coverage and product exposure because we have a very limited control of messages and we have editorial policies that need to be met. So we have a very limited time and frequency of media coverage and product exposure. And then PR can achieve a greater appeal, acceptance, and understanding through the third-person endorsement in the media. Um, Editorial placements in the media have higher reader, viewer, or listener attention and recall. PR outlays are often less than advertising budget, measuring effectiveness through the column inches and airtime gains. So these are all the characteristics of PR. As you can see, PR has a very characteristic that shown ethical and professionalism. Okay, because we are dealing professionally with the public, we are dealing with the public directly, we are representing our organization, we are bringing the organization image towards the public. So we need to be very professional about things that we are endorsing. Okay, and then the issues that been placed in the media is something that is uh, very special, that have a greater appeal and acceptance, right? These are the PR functions. Okay, key functions of PR. It has a two-way communication. It creates a mutual understanding between the organizations and the public. Reach out the needs of the public. Basically, the public relation team were the one who seek out what are the needs of the publics, and we try to send out what are the policies or the guidelines that provided by the organizations to the public. Okay, we are researching the needs of the public, reputation of management, okay, counseling the organization management. And in order to fulfill the PR function, the PR practitioners will plan and implement activities in the areas which most common and prominent activities, which includes media relations, customers relations, community relations, employee relations, financial relations, governmental relations, image building, issue management, and crisis management. These are all the activities, or these are all the common ways on how the PR practitioner trying to get connected with the public. For example, if there is any crisis happening in the current situations that relating to the organization, the PR practitioner of that organization should seek out what are the crisis management um, program and processes need to be carried out in order to manage the crisis, because they doesn't want to prolong the crisis, because we want to create a good relationship with the public. So when we are good uh, when we're having a good ways in handling and managing the crisis, definitely we are going to get a very good relationship, as the publics know that you are concerned with what is happening, and it shows that you are really committed to your organizations and to your public. So that is very important. Okay. Uh, Two most prominent ways in PR practice in sport is media relation and also community relation. So media relation is definitely, we want to create a good relationship with the members of media because we want the media coverage. So we need to be very good with the media team. Okay, we need to create a program that has publicity, and we try to minimize the unfavorable publicity. For example, when we're celebrating Hari Sukan Negara, um, how are we going to be publicized, how are we going to publicize our event? Maybe it should be something with a high impact. For example, you bring along the Olympian athletes, right? So when you're having Olympian athletes together with you in Hari Sukan Negara, this will attract the public to get to know you more, and this will also attract the media team to be on your side and do the media coverage. And then we'll also have a community relation, which we try to create the good relationship between the organization and the communities, which is the CSR. I bet most of you had heard about CSR. What is CSR? What is CSR? It's a service um, community service plan. So it's a community service program which will definitely positively impacting your organization. For example, when you're doing a crowdfunding for a family that is suffering from COVID-19, who doesn't have any work, and then you are providing help for them in terms of food, and then you create a food bank. So those are the things as CSR that can definitely enhance the good image of your organization. Right, and then we have roles of PR. Roles of PR is when we talk about what actually PR do. Okay, kalau kita tanya what is the role ataupun peranan the public relation practitioner, right? First, they persuade the public thinking. They give persuasion. Okay, they persuade how public think, because when we do CSR, when we have a good community relationship, we are actually persuading the public thoughts in having to know that the organization is some organization that give full attention towards the community services. Okay, and then we have publicity. Okay, because PR are using publicity and promotion for any commercial reason, fundraising or building personality. So this is very important. So in order to make your organization famous, you need to build out your personalities, right? So by doing publicity, uh, it's a good thing. So I bet most of you have heard that a cheap publicity is still a publicity, but a professional organization rather to have a very good and smart way of publicize themselves. Okay, so it is very important. That is a PR roles, okay, for keeping or doing the publicity. And then PR also provide information, which is create awareness and also encourage the support and participant in various aspects. For example, doing campaigns of um, mental health awareness month. So this kind of campaign is also belongs to PR. For example, the Ministry of Health Malaysia are promoting on the month of syndrome down awareness. So by doing this campaign, people are eventually going to know what is Down syndrome, how is it possible to get Down syndrome, how can someone be defined as Down syndrome. So this awareness campaign are actually reflecting towards the Ministry of Health. They are giving the informations towards the publics. Okay, then PR also works as marketing, because they do the publicity, so they definitely help in organizing the exhibitions and then road shows, and they prepare the pamphlets. Okay, so PR is actually doing a marketing job. However, there is a difference between PR and marketing. So what are the differences? We are going to look at it after this. Okay, and then PR also do the managerial approach, okay, which they are going to actually conduct on public opinion polls, and then they are creating the definitions about the organization from the public opinions. These are the good things about PR. And then one of the role of a PR is communication, because they work as the medium between the organizations and the public and create a two-way communication for the public and also the organization. Number seven, they work as a relationship management, because um, they are actually creating a mutual beneficial relationship with the public. Basic skills that sports public relation practitioners should have is writing skills, because you are going to write some press release, you are going to write some reports, okay, so you need to have a good writing skills. Public presentation competencies, because you are going to talk, because we have the communication as a role of a PR, so you need to talk very well. You have a desktop publishing capabilities, okay, internet related competencies, and interpersonal skills. So these are all related skills in sports public relation, because in order to become a sport journalist, sport broadcasting team, or even if you're becoming a sport reporter, you need to have all the kind of things to help you to enhance your performance in that current area, right? Types of public relation, we have corporate, voluntary, government, and consultancy. So what is corporate? Corporate PR is actually where we support the profit making. We have sales and marketing effort. We monitor what is the public opinion. Okay, we try to create a good environment at work, and we try to increase the organization performance. So this is more related to the corporate image or corporate branding itself. Okay, we talk about the organization image. Okay, and then they also works as creating publicity, marketing, investor relations, community relation, advertising, sales, and promotion. Then we have voluntary PR. Voluntary PR, named as voluntary, which is volunteer. It aims to serve the public, so it alerts the public to the services offered and raise the funds to finance those services. Okay, some of the activities covered in voluntary PR is the role promotion, client services, fundraising activities, enlistments of volunteers, because it's a voluntary PR, developing a channel of communication, and create and maintaining a favorable um, climate for fundraising. Next is government PR. Definitely, this is very obvious. We are representing the government. The government PR serve the public interest, where they inform the constituents about the government agencies, right? And then they help in handling crises as well. Okay, and the last one is consultancy PR, with the give counseling to the extent of the client wishes. Okay. Right, so then that is about the consultancy PR. Next, it also helped to stimulate the growth of a PR consultants, because it increased the urbanization, it expand the government bureaucracy, and give a more sophisticated mass media system, because there's lots of marketing and publicity done. There has a rise of consumerism and demand for more information from the client. um, why are we using the PR consultancy? Because some of the organizations, they don't have their own PR, so we have a PR consultancy. That is why there has a PR company to help to represent the organization, okay, to handle the ad hoc assignments, for example, to do a press conference, okay, to provide specialist services. And also they bring several strengths to the PR campaign, and plan and execute a complex PR program where the internal PR staff do not have the capability to do so. Okay. Basically, the consultancy is where we are hiring a PR company to represent our organizations or to do any publicity uh, representing our organization. Okay. So this is the differences between the PR and the marketing lah. Okay, the PR and marketing described as a complementary, saling melengkapi, but they have a distinct organizational functions. Why? Because the marketing is only focusing on the customer and exchange of value, while PR is actually more focusing on the targets and keeping up a good relationship with the variety of publics. Okay, so the relationship between the two functions involve promotions and publicity. Then sport marketing is any activities that designed to meet the needs and wants of a sports consumer through the exchange process. Okay. Right. This also can be read. Okay. This is sport public relation, promotions, and publicity. Marketing mix. Before this, there are 4Ps, which is product, price, place, and promotion. But if I'm not mistaken, now we have 7Ps already. But I can't recall what are the three additional Ps. Okay. But the 4Ps that you need to know about the marketing mix is the product, the price, place, and promotion. Right, so basically, when sport marketers need to promote something or market something, they need to identify the marketing mix first, okay? Because they need to know what are the products or the goods they are trying to sell, and what are the price to be put in so that the consumers will incur in exchange for the product, and the place or distribution decisions, okay, the uh, geographical interest, they need to know that, and the promotions, how they promote the products or the services. Okay. Sorry, I have to bring my baby along. Okay. Right. Next is that the promotional mix. Okay, the promotional mix have four elements, which is advertising, the personal selling, sales promotions, and as well as publicity, right? So advertising is how we commercialize the messages regarding the product, okay? And then personal selling is on how are we going to motivate our consumer in order to buy the products, okay? And then the sales promotions, okay? Yeah, sales promotion is very important because when you have a sales promotion, definitely people will hunt the product or services down. Yeah, okay. And then we have publicity, the public relation, okay, refers to the information regarding the product or sports organization conveyed through the mass media for free. Okay, this is also very important. Yeah. Okay, so let us continue. Right. Next, we have the benefits of PR to the sports organizations. Okay, so definitely the PRs is actually helping the sports organizations to generate the revenue because they helps in supporting the marketing of the products and services. Okay, PR did the publicity, PR do the marketing things, PR promotes the organizations towards the publics. Okay, then PR also provide the products that can be sold, and it helps to enhance the organization reputations with the key publics. And it also helps to save the money by avoiding mistakes and minimizing the conflict between the sports organizations and the public. So, so PR can be very important to the sports organization as it helps in keeping the good reputations and branding images for the sports organization. So I guess that is all for chapter 1. So these are the things that you need to know about PR, introductions of PR. Okay, public relations is actually helps in benefiting the organization by creating a mutual beneficial relationship between the organizations and the public. And you need to remember what are the types of PRs, the roles of PRs, okay, and then the benefits of the PRs, especially to the sports organizations. Basically, each of the organizations, they have their own PR teams, but if they are unable to handle the marketing or the press conference, okay, they need to manage for consultancy PR, sub the PR activities to other PR companies. Okay, so I guess that's it all for our class today. Okay, this little one, uh, she doesn't want to go to sleep yet. Okay, I hope that everybody will get the benefits of this class for this chapter. Okay, so at the end of this class, I'm going to provide a pop quiz. Okay, a pop quiz. So this pop quiz will be given on the next 1 hour class. So it is based on this chapter. Okay, so we're going to do a recap on this chapter, so make sure that you guys really understand about this chapter. If you have any question, be pleased to ask me at the MS Team chat, or you can simply just ask in the WhatsApp chat. Okay, if you still don't understand, then you can tell me directly and I can call you to explain, or if it's necessary, I'll do the live class on the next Monday morning next week, okay, in order to explain this chapter. All right, with that, mm, we thank you. Say thank you. Say thank you. Yeah, we thank you, okay, for your time participating in this class. Okay, I hope that you get the benefits, and I hope that the course outline, sorry, the chapter outline, okay, course tu dah terlampau tinggi sangat kan. Okay, I hope that the chapters outline shall be apa orang kata, shall be filled, and hope that you really understand about what is PR and how does it relate it to the sports organizations. Okay, with that, I thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.